So here's my new braids. I put blonde in it.
Everyone keeps saying, you need your girlfriend.
I miss you.
Do you have like any normal dishes? Like all your dishes, your plates are like glass and nice. Like, do you have any fuck off dishes? You need paper plates, bro.
Look at how pretty. Hey. Hey.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
I go hard on Southside Deep. Hey, I make sure that Northside Deep. Really? But still.
I want to go buy another one. This was a $10 one. I want to go buy a $20 one, but my good friend here next to me drove away and told me I don't need it. She's a fucking bad influence. Tell her I need the goddamn scratch off, Kyle!
Now to that developing story out of Newport Richey, where police spent the day searching for a missing Largo woman. 34-year-old Kathleen Moore was last seen at her boyfriend's house early Monday morning. And new tonight, we're hearing from those who miss her the most. As ABC Action News reporter Mason Morrow reports, investigators are now asking for any tips that could help bring her home.
At this point, we're not sure. We're trying to gather all the information we can to find her.
Nikki Wallen spent all of Sunday with her best friend of 20 years. Wallen says after the two returned from a late-night concert, Moore left her vehicle at Wallen's house and rode with her boyfriend to his home.
Sunday, when she walked out my front door, took her heels off that were hurting her feet, that are still by my front door. I never heard from her again.
On Monday, she didn't show up for school or work. She missed her bartending shift at Whiskey Wings again on Tuesday.
I started calling people like, hey, have you heard from Kathleen?
Pasco County investigators say Moore's cell phone was found in a dumpster outside a Newport Richey Walgreens. Friday night, while a forensics team searched the house on Carmel Avenue, those who know and love Moore met at her favorite spot to share stories and well wishes.
It's always the same people here, and they won't come unless she's working. Like when she's off, they're mad.
Tim McGough is a regular at St. Petersburg Sports Bar. Moore is his favorite bartender.
Sweetest person, great to everybody. All the customers loved her.
He considers the woman across the bar top not only a friend, but happy hour family.
I would like to think that she's okay. I would hope that, but I don't know.
I'm Mason Morrow, ABC Action News.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Heather Lee in for Jasmine Stiles. Newport Richey detectives are searching a wooded area looking for 34-year-old Kathleen Moore. She was last seen Monday morning. ABC Action News was there as detectives left the search area with what appears to be an evidence bag. Reporter Mason Morrow has the details.
Missing posters of 34-year-old Kathleen Moore posted across the street from the Walgreens where her phone was found in a dumpster earlier this week. Again, Saturday night, detectives searched the area and came away with what appears to be a bag of evidence. Close friends of Moore's tell me they first searched the woods behind the 7-Eleven on Seven Springs Boulevard in Newport Richey. They tell ABC Action News they believe they found Moore's clothes she was reportedly last seen wearing and alerted detectives. But a Pasco County Sheriff's Office spokesperson could not confirm her clothes were the ones that were found, telling us in a text message, quote, "For the integrity of the investigation, no factual information such as that is available at this time."
I miss her. I want her to come home.
Faith Zessin is Moore's goddaughter. The two overcame their age gap through shared passion of music and cosmetics.
She was like my godmom, but more like my best friend.
Moore even helped Zessin nab her first job and loves to spoil her little boy, Sebastian.
Everything, you know, she's been there for everything.
So it was unlike Moore to stop responding to calls or texts.
When I found out that her phone had been found in the dumpster, I was like, okay, you know, this is serious.
Pasco County detectives retrieved the phone from the dumpster after Moore was reported missing by friends and coworkers on Tuesday. On Friday, detectives and a forensics team searched the house on Carmel Avenue where she was reportedly last seen.
We all have a bad gut feeling about it because we know that she's a fighter, but there's only so much,
Zessing's confidence wavers, but her memories with Moore don't. Her godmother stays with her through old pictures and videos of cherished times together.
It's like she's with me, like, when I watch them. And, like, even if she is gone, like, I know that she's forever going to be with me. And, like, I feel like she's with me right now.
In Newport Richey, I'm Mason Morrow, ABC Action News.
Hey, what happened?
Well, my name is Johnson Vincent. I found the phone in the dumpster looking for something to eat. And it was in a bag, and it looked like it was one of the front bags from the store. Like, they went around the store, the employees, to throw it out. It was right down by, I usually will jump in if the food or whatever they happen to throw out was, that's Deputy Middleton, or Detective Middleton. I've been talking to him. And in essence, I got the phone, and when it rang, it vibrated, and I think it was her friend. She didn't really say her name, but it came up as Tina something on the actual caller ID.
Okay.
And I explained there's only like 5 or 6% to start with, and then it went down to 4%, and I happened to be at my camp, so I brought the phone over to Rocky, the manager at Walgreens, who, I basically know him through walking to the parking lot, picking it up, and also going in the dumpster.
I appreciate that. I really do.
And sometimes, I even said if you could help me out to the friend, I would appreciate it. But a lot of people would have just sold the phone or whatever. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do the right thing. And I actually found a doctor's wallet one time. And he was surprised when he got his wallet back because the money was still there, the debit card. I'm 43 years old. And
she was 34.
34?
Yeah. Did you see a picture of her?
No, I haven't seen anything. I literally just talked to this lady yesterday. I don't even know this girl. Something named Colin came up in conversation, though.
That's her boyfriend.
And lives around here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've never heard that name.
I appreciate you so much turning her phone in. We were just devastated.
I have 3 sisters, man.
Right. I have 4 kids, but Kat grew up with my kids since she was 11 years old. Her mama kind of just walked out one day and never come back, and she was been best friends with my daughter. She brought her home one day and she ate dinner with us, and she's been a part of our family since she was 11.
Right around here or somewhere?
No, down at Indian Rocks Beach is where I'm from.
I'm
yeah.
Florida boy. I was going to Clearwater. So.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you. Here, I'm going to show you.
We're going to be talking about this missing woman, Kathleen Moore, 24 years old, from Clearwater, Florida, which is Pinellas County, and Newport Richey, which is Pasco County, where her boyfriend resides. These locations are relatively close, like it's not that far. The reason I have Largo here is because we're going to be talking about 2 other people because they give some of their experiences with Kathleen. We're going to talk about Jessica, which is a longtime friend, over 20 plus years. We're going to listen to a little bit of her account of the situation with the boyfriend, plus Nikki, which is the last person she was with before she went to the boyfriend's house. Nikki lives in Largo, and from Largo, Kathleen took an Uber that night to Newport Richey.
Last seen by Jessica Brummett last Thursday for Thanksgiving at her parents' home, Jessica Brummett's parents' home. You saw the parents there in a previous photo in Newport Richey. Brummett said that she messaged with Kathleen on Sunday morning on Facebook Messenger. That's the last time that they had any communication with one another. Brummett said that Kathleen, right side of your screen, was at a friend's home in Largo, left her car there, and then took an Uber to see her boyfriend in Newport Richey. According to Brummett, Kathleen got into an argument with her boyfriend on Sunday night and was trying to leave the scene of that argument with her boyfriend. She had FaceTime with a friend saying that she was waiting for an Uber to leave the scene of that confrontation.
November 28th was Sunday and November 29th was Monday. So it kind of goes into the early morning hours because it was reported that Kathleen was last seen around 1 a.m. by the boyfriend's house, which is on Carmel Avenue in Newport Richey, which we're going to take a look in a second because Jonathan, the guy from the Gabby Petito case, he went in person and showed up to the house.
They hung out all day Sunday, barbecuing in the day, then hitting a beach bar that night. Around 11:30, Kathleen left Nikki's Largo home with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, saying she was going to his home in Newport Richey, telling Nikki she would pick up her car in the morning.
I woke up Monday morning to get ready for work myself and realized that she wasn't here yet or had called me to say, hey, I'm running late or whatever. That's when I was like, something's not right, and immediately called her phone and it went straight to voicemail.
Nobody's heard from her since. And some of the updates that have happened with the story, well, there was this homeless man that found Kathleen's cell phone at a dumpster, I believe across the street or close to this Walgreens that's like right by the boyfriend's house.
On Friday afternoon and into the night, Pasco County Sheriff's investigators searched the boyfriend's home on Carmel Avenue. Deputies followed up on another lead and looked for any clues in her disappearance at the Pasco County landfill in Spring Hill. 8 on Your Side has confirmed the sheriff's office has recovered Moore's cell phone. Friends say a homeless man found it in the dumpster at a Walgreens near the boyfriend's home.
It's hard because I want to have faith and hope that she comes home so I can hear her infectious laughter and hug her and let her know that I love her. Hard because we're now at 5 days.
And reportedly, there was information about maybe her clothes being found in the woods behind, I don't know if it was the dumpster or the Walgreens.
Moore, she was last seen Monday morning. ABC Action News was there as detectives left the search area with what appears to be an evidence bag. Reporter Mason Morrow has the details.
Missing posters of 34-year-old Kathleen Moore posted across the street from the Walgreens where her phone was found at a dumpster earlier this week. Again, Saturday night, detectives searched the area and came away with what appears to be a bag of evidence. Close friends of Moore's tell me they first searched the woods behind the 7-Eleven on Seven Springs Boulevard in Newport Richey. They tell ABC Action News they believe they found Moore's clothes she was reportedly last seen wearing and alerted detectives. But a Pasco County Sheriff's Office spokesperson could not confirm her clothes were the ones that were found, telling us in a text message, quote, "For the integrity of the investigation, no factual information such as that is available at this time."
As of recording this, I don't see that the boyfriend has been officially named a person of interest or a suspect, though I imagine that they're looking at him because they were there at the house. His name hasn't been put out officially by like the media, but it is online on Facebook. You can easily find it. Kathleen is loved and missed, and I saw several clips and video of her friends speaking out, her co-workers at Whiskey Wings. She's loved by many over there too, not just the employers, but also the patrons that visited there. They know her, they see her as family.
Kathleen Moore is missing. Kathleen Moore is missing.
I'm going to play a couple of more portions of this video, but I'm going to put the link down below if you want to watch his entire video. He shows up to the boyfriend's house and he speaks about Kathleen and gives some of the details about her missing. And eventually he knocks on the door, nobody answers, and the neighbor comes out and they actually had a confrontation.
Colin! Where's your girlfriend Kathleen? She's been missing. Her family and friends want to know where she's at. Kathleen is missing. Do you know where Colin is? Have you seen Kathleen Long?
You need to leave. I'm going to call the police.
You can call the police. Have you seen Kathleen Long? Okay, thank you. Have you seen Kathleen Long? Kathleen is missing. Her family and friends are looking for her.
I know what's going on.
All right, what's going on? Oh, you live here.
No, dude. Get out of here.
Where's Colin? Where's Colin? The police are looking.
I know. What are you going to come bother me for?
I'm not bothering you. I'm asking Colin. Where's Colin?
Jonathan also posted on Facebook that they went to the boyfriend's parents' house and they asked about Kathleen. And he says that the parents said they didn't even know he had a girlfriend. And yeah, that's it. I just wanted to do my little part and share the story, her face, her name, the video. And, you know, hopefully she's found and okay. There's been many stories, even Lachey that we covered recently, Morris. I mean, and that one's kind of weird to me. I mean, I'm hearing rumblings about the GoFundMe, but I don't know. That one's a little weird. But I've covered plenty of stories where the person turns up. This is not looking good, though. This is looking nefarious. You know what I'm saying? She didn't show up to work, didn't show up to school, hasn't been in contact with any of her friends. Cell phone found in a dumpster. Boyfriend issues, arguing, Uber. What happened from there? Could they get into the phones? Could they actually verify these Uber transactions? Could they find out, you know, did the Uber even come? Who's the Uber driver? Did he show up to the house and she wasn't there, or he did, or, you know, all those things I wonder about.
Love is all we can put out there for us.
Friends and coworkers of 34-year-old Kathleen Moore surround a table with candles, ribbons, and Kathleen's picture. Kathleen is a bartender and trainer at Whiskey Wings on Roosevelt Boulevard in St. Petersburg. This is the third night they've gathered after sunset at the restaurant, hoping Kathleen comes back soon.
Kathleen is very loved here at this restaurant, not only by the staff, but by the customers. We're a very strong family here. So I figured that when we didn't hear from Kat by Wednesday, that I figured she was just lost in the dark. So this isn't a memorial that we made for her. It's just lighting her way home so she can find her way back to us.
Kathleen was last seen around 1 a.m. on Monday, November 29th. Since then, the Pasco County Sheriff's Office says they've searched her boyfriend's house near Newport Richey and a landfill in Spring Hill due to a possible connection with her disappearance. Before she was reported missing, Kat's boss at Whiskey Wings noticed something wasn't right. Kat wasn't responding to texts or answering her phone, which friends say is out of character.
I called, it went straight to voicemail, so I knew that's when her phone was off. She was scheduled to be here at work Monday night. When she didn't show up or call, something was up. So I called the police first thing Tuesday morning.
She's just the most energetic, full of life, positive person you could ever meet. She's just, she draws you in like that. That's why there's so many people that are worried about her. It's like you meet her once and you're just like, you're so drawn in by her positivity.
At this point, they just want answers and hope they can be reunited with their friend and coworker soon. Justin Matthews, Fox 13 News.
And family and friends are anxiously awaiting updates. So far, no arrests have been made.
Now today, I'm gonna need you guys to blow this up and make sure you share it because we need help in finding Kathleen Moore. On November 29th, Kathleen Moore and her friend Nikki of over 20 years decided to go out. Now, when they went out, they did take Kathleen's on-again, off-again boyfriend, but it's being said that when they got back, Kathleen did leave with him on her own. Now, I'm going to let Nikki kind of describe how the night went so you can get a visual representation of how everything went down.
Sunday, barbecuing in the day, then hitting a beach bar that night. Around 11:30, Kathleen left Nikki's Largo home with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, saying she was going to his home in Newport Richey, telling Nikki she would pick up her car in the morning.
I woke up Monday morning to get ready for work myself and realized that she wasn't here yet or had called me to like say, hey, I'm running late or whatever. That's when I was like, something's not right.
So after leaving Nikki's house that night with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, you guys, she left her car there as well. So she got in the car with the boyfriend. Now, Nikki is saying as the night went on, the next day, when she didn't hear anything back from Kathleen, she knew something was wrong because that's not like Kathleen. So as the day goes on, Kathleen does not show up to work. Her phone is going straight to voicemail and nobody is hearing from her. That's when her coworkers start to worry, her friends start to worry, her family starts to worry because they know something is not right. So that Monday night, they decide to go ahead and file a police report and report her missing. Now, what's crazy is that following day on that Tuesday, a homeless man finds Kathleen's phone in a dumpster. Now, y'all, that is crazy. When I heard that piece of information, I knew then that something had to have happened to Kathleen that night that she left with that boyfriend.
I appreciate you so much turning her phone in. Her cell phone was later found in a dumpster in Newport Richey by this man who says he's homeless. Investigators using it and questioning the last people who saw her, hoping to find Kathleen.
Somebody knows where she is or somebody knows what happened. There's more to the story.
Now, you guys, even though Kathleen's belongings were found in a dumpster by a Walgreens, police are trying to still track and see what happened to Kathleen and where she is. Now, I'm not saying the boyfriend's name because he has not been named as a suspect, and for legal reasons, I'm just not saying it. But allegedly, Kathleen and the boyfriend did get into an argument on the night that she went with him, and he's saying that she got into an Uber and left, and that is the last time that he saw her. But there is no record of her getting into an Uber. So authorities have searched landfills, they have searched the boyfriend's home, and they have searched her home as well. Now, like I said, they still have not named any suspects or have not said if they had any leads in this case. She is still missing as of today. Now, one of Kathleen's family members did contact me and she informed me that the boyfriend had scratches on his hand, but he tried to pretend like the scratches were old. But people were saying that he did not have those scratches in the beginning of the night when they went out that night. So that could be evidence that a fight took place that night after Kathleen went back out with him. My opinion in this case is that boyfriend needs to speak up. He absolutely knows more than what he's saying, and that's just my opinion. My heart goes out to Kathleen's family, everybody in that community, because she seemed like she was very well loved. She seemed like a very good person. And I just really hope that he comes forward and tells what really happened that night so we can bring Kathleen home to her family. You guys, make sure you blow this up and comment below. If you have any information, don't hesitate to call the police. And like I said before, you guys, make sure you blow this up so we can bring Kathleen home.
Colin! Where's your girlfriend, Kathleen? She's been missing. Her family and friends want to know where she's at. Kathleen is missing. Do you know where Colin is? Have you seen Kathleen Long?
You need to leave. I'm going to call the police.
You can call the police. Have you seen Kathleen Long? Okay, thank you. Have you seen Kathleen Long? Kathleen is missing. Her family and friends are looking for her.
I know what's going on.
All right, what's going on? Oh, you live here.
No, dude. Get out of here.
Where's Colin? Where's Colin? The police are looking.
I know. What are you going to come bother me for?
I'm not bothering you. I'm asking Colin. Where's Colin?
ABC Action News starts right now with breaking news.
And we start with that breaking news at 5 o'clock. The Pasco County Sheriff's Office just announced they've made an arrest in the case of that missing woman from Largo, Kathleen Moore. This just came into our newsroom in the last 20 minutes.
The Sheriff's Office has not released any other details. ABC Action News reporter J.J. Burton has been following this case for the last several days, and J.J. joins us live where Kathleen Moore's co-workers were already planning to gather. J.J., what was the reaction out there with this major update?
And for our co-workers here at Whiskey Wings, they're hopeful that this means they're one step closer to getting more information and finding out where she is and what happened to her. But again, like you said, they are planning that candlelight vigil. They're going to be lighting these candles, and they've been doing this all week. And they say this is their way of lighting her way home next to this picture here, which says, "My story isn't over yet." And that's what they're hoping for Kathleen.
This is video from over the weekend. Pasco County deputies were seen searching this wooded area behind the 7-Eleven at 7 Springs and State Road 54. They left with evidence bags, but detectives aren't confirming what's in them. And this is right across the street from the Walgreens, where a homeless man found 34-year-old Kathleen Moore's cell phone in a dumpster. And less than a mile from here is her boyfriend's home. According to detectives, this is the last place Moore was before she disappeared.
It's heartbreaking.
Faith Zesson is Moore's goddaughter. She and everyone else who knows her say Moore would never go more than an hour without talking to one of them in some way.
She's always active on Facebook. She's always Snapchatting me, making sure I'm okay.
Moore's boss and friend, Jamie Poe, is the one who reported her missing after chatting with Moore's boyfriend on Facebook Messenger last Monday evening.
And he just said, "Oh, I didn't know," or she didn't come with me, or she left?
No, said that she came with him, and then I guess she got upset, and he said she left either in an Uber or with a friend. He didn't know.
She said the boyfriend stopped talking after the sheriff's office got involved, and detectives have not named him as a suspect or person of interest in her disappearance. We've gone by the house several times, including today, and no one has answered. And the people who love and miss Moore the most say at this point all they can do is pray for a miracle.
We all have a bad gut feeling about it because we know that she's a fighter, but there's only so much, you know.
And back out here live again, we told you that there has been an arrest made. We don't know who that person is that they arrested. They will have a press conference at 8 o'clock where they will tell us exactly who they arrested and how they made that arrest. And hopefully some more updates as to where Kathleen Moore is and what happened to her. Again, there will be a candlelight vigil here at 6 with our co-workers, hoping, again, praying and hoping that she is found safe. Reporting live in Pinellas County, I'm J.J. Burton, ABC Action News.
We are continuing to stay on top of Kathleen Moore's disappearance this morning. Pasco County detectives now searching for her body.
It's heartbreaking for her family. We've been covering this as a missing persons case for the past week, but the sheriff gave us a big update saying that they have arrested her boyfriend, Colin Knapp, and charged him with murder. ABC Action News reporter Larissa Scott joins us live now at the Pasco County Sheriff's Office with the latest on the recovery efforts. Good morning, Larissa.
Hi, good morning, Dia. And we're told Pasco County investigators have been working nonstop for the past several days trying to get answers. They say Kathleen Moore was last seen alive on November 29th. Detectives tell us Moore's boyfriend, Colin Knapp, says the two got into a few fights when they went to a bar last week. then got into another fight at his home in Newport Richey. Knapp claims she left, but investigators say they now have enough information to charge him with her death. Deputies tell us they found Moore's phone in a dumpster. They found Knapp's clothes with Moore's blood on it in another dumpster at his job at Harold Seltzer's Steakhouse in Port Richey. He claims he went to his job in the early hours of the morning on November 29th to do an inventory of meat. The sheriff says Knapp is being uncooperative in helping them find Moore's body and is asking him to help bring her family some closure.
For Colin Knapp, who's in this facility right now, know that there is a God. Know that he knows all the answers. And right now you have an opportunity to do something positive when you had done so much evil. Please share with us right now where Kathleen is so we can do something for the family. We can give them some type of resolution.
Call this number on your screen if you have any information about this case. Detectives believe someone may know something or may have seen something that could help them find Kathleen Moore's body. Now, this is a developing story, and we will, of course, keep you updated with all the latest information that we have on air and online at abcactionnews.com. I'm live in Pasco County this morning. Larissa Scott, ABC Action News.
There's that forensic truck right there.
Begin with that breaking update in the Kathleen Moore case. The Pasco County Sheriff just announcing they have found her body. Let's get right out to our Eric Waxler live near the area where the body was found earlier today. Eric, please walk us through exactly what happened and this latest update.
Yeah, Wendy, investigators have been here at Colin Knapp's house in Newport Richey on Carmel Avenue since last week. They've been looking for evidence and ultimately looking for Kathleen Moore's body, which, as we now know, they have found her. The scene actually is starting to clear. Some of the sheriff's deputies have left. I saw the medical examiner's truck leave a short while ago, signaling that, yes, they have found her body and positively identified her. Now, earlier today, Knapp, Moore's boyfriend, made his first appearance in front of a judge. That was done by video from the Land O'Lakes jail. He's charged with second-degree murder. The judge ordered no bond and said it was especially fitting considering the new developments in this case, which we now know that her body, Kathleen Moore, was found in a wooded area very close to her boyfriend Knapp's home. It was covered in brush. The sheriff alluded that it was she was intentionally hidden back there. But again, today she was found, as somebody who was walking by noticed and tipped off the sheriff's office. There have been friends waiting here all day, hoping for some sort of answers, and now, sadly, they have them.
She's just an amazing person. She's just one of the ones that you can call when you need something, 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. She's there for you all the time. She just spent like 3 hours with me 2 weeks ago because my daughter was running for homecoming, and she helped me make all the flyers, and, you know, she was just always somebody that you can count on.
Detectives say Moore was last seen alive early November 29th, getting into Knapp's Cadillac. And that Cadillac is still parked, or was at least earlier today, at the restaurant in Port Richey where Knapp worked. Investigators found his clothes covered in Moore's blood, tossed in a dumpster near that restaurant as well. And again, you heard Sheriff Nacco talking about the extensive investigation and searching through dumpsters, looking for evidence that all eventually led to finding Kathleen Moore's body here in Newport Richey. Live in Newport Richey, Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.
Eric, thank you. The Pasco County Sheriff has called this a case of domestic violence, and he wants to make it clear help is always out there. One of the most important resources to highlight is the statewide domestic violence hotline. That number right there on your screen, 1-800-500-1119. It will anonymously connect you to a DV center nearest to you. We've shared more resources on our website at abcactionnews.com/DV.
Today, family and friends will remember a young woman they say had a bright smile. smile and was always the life of the party, 34-year-old Kathleen Moore. Yesterday, they learned the heartbreaking news that the body found in Newport Richey is Moore's.
Pasco County Sheriff says that the body was found there yesterday in a wooded area just a short walk from the home of Moore's boyfriend, Colin Knapp. Knapp's charged with second-degree murder, and a judge denied his bond yesterday. This morning, ABC Action News reporter Chad Mills is live in Pasco County to explain the closure that family and friends, they're still looking for that, Chad.
That's right, because there are a couple important questions they still want answers to, and they believe that Colin Knapp plays a role in answering at least one of those questions. More on that in just a second. Let's start, though, with the latest in this case and investigation. According to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, Kathleen Moore's body was found yesterday in a wooded area of Newport Richey, just 50 yards from Knapp's home. Knapp, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, is charged with second-degree murder in connection to her death. Yesterday, a warrant was released to the public, and it describes what led deputies to find key pieces of evidence like Moore's phone and bloodied clothes left in multiple dumpsters, and it describes what led them to arrest Knapp. It says Knapp gave conflicting stories when deputies started questioning him about Moore's disappearance in late November. It also says on the night she was last seen alive, Moore texted her roommate about a fight she had and that she was, quote, being accused of things and wished she could find a nice guy to be with. Now, friends and the sheriff hope Knapp will answer a key question.
Why? Like,
right. What could she possibly done?
Yeah.
Why?
There's, you know, she didn't deserve that. Not at all.
Make it easier on the family. Answer their questions. Answer the why.
Aside from those questions, there are a few more that investigators will have to answer in this case. When and how Moore died, and if Knapp's second-degree murder charge will ultimately be upgraded. No answers to those questions in the news conference here at Pasco County Sheriff's Office yesterday. In terms of what will happen later today, a vigil is planned for 7:30 tonight. Friends, family members hope to kind of remember their good times with Moore, and they plan to do that in the vigil. Again, 7:30 tonight outside of Knapp's home in Newport Richey. Live in Pasco County this morning, Chad Mills, ABC Action News.
Tonight, family and friends came together to remember Kathleen Moore.
Her body was found in the woods feet away from her boyfriend's home yesterday, and the Pasco County Sheriff's Office arrested that boyfriend for murder. Nico Clemens is at the vigil for more tonight. He joins us live with the latest. Nico.
Hey, Josh, Jennifer, that vigil ended a couple hours ago, but the candles are still burning for Kathleen here. A very emotional atmosphere tonight. People gathered here on Carmel Avenue in front of Knapp's home. They hope her tragic murder sends a message.
So we're going to find our answer through prayer. We're going to find our answer through the word of God.
A family and a community are heartbroken.
She do have an army still out here that's going to forever represent her, from her co-workers to her friends and her family.
Brittany Kendrick says everyone loved her cousin, Kathleen Moore. And who wouldn't? She always had that smile.
She always had jokes, always loved everyone. That's why this is so hard to know that she had to face someone like him on her own.
The Pasco County Sheriff's Office arrested Colin Knapp for Moore's murder. They eventually found Moore's body in the woods, 50 yards from Knapp's home. It's in front of that same home. People came together to light a candle in her name. Kendrick says Moore planned a balloon release for another cousin they already lost.
It's not going to even feel right to have to add her to our balloon release.
Moore and Knapp were in a relationship. Her family and friends hope others in a similar situation learn from the tragedy.
Any women out there that's going through any domestic, please get out of it. It's not love. It's not love. It's not worth your life.
A life taken too soon. All they have now are memories.
And I really hope her boyfriend gets the justice he deserves, because he did not deserve to take someone's life. He doesn't play God.
A couple dozen people came out tonight to show their respect. I talked with a woman. She came from Tampa, didn't know Moore at all, but again, just wanted to be here with the family and show them, again, honor and respect. No funeral arrangements right now for Moore, but of course, when we learn that information, we'll share it with you. Live in Newport Richie, I'm Nico Clemens, 8 on your side.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Lee.
And I'm Josh Benson. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Those stories coming up as well. But first, our top story tonight. There are new details emerging since Pasco County Sheriff first announced tonight the body of 34-year-old Kathleen Moore has been identified.
Moore was reported missing last week. Her boyfriend already charged with second-degree murder. And now we know more about the evidence. Justin Shecker is joining us now live tonight outside the FDLE Forensics Lab in Tampa. Justin.
Josh and Jen, good evening to you both. According to new court documents, this FDLE lab is where an analyst identified blood evidence on the suspect's pants as matching Kathleen Moore's DNA profile. Pasco County Sheriff Chris Nacco says he hopes the discovery of her body provides some closure to her family and helps prosecutors get justice in court. After learning her daughter's disappearance became a homicide investigation, Karen Moore told 8 on Your Side.
I hope they do find her. I pray every day that they do find her, and only God knows where she is. And he has the last word.
Late Tuesday morning, Pasco deputies say they recovered Kathleen Moore's remains in a heavily wooded area behind her boyfriend's Newport Richie home.
Today, we positively identified her body based on tattoos.
Sheriff Chris Nacco says there was a deliberate attempt to hide her body.
As detectives will tell you, even when you're 2 feet away from her, it's hard to see that her body was there.
As investigators returned to the Carmel Avenue home,
Colin Knapp,
the murder suspect made his first appearance before a judge.
Perhaps you're not aware of, there's been new developments in that case as well, okay? Which makes it even clearer.
Court documents say Colin Knapp changed his story about whether he left his home in the early morning of November 29th. He told detectives he drove to his workplace, Harold Seltzer's Steakhouse in Port Richey, to do a meat inventory. Deputies obtained surveillance video from around 1:30 a.m. showing his Cadillac arrive and park next to the restaurant's large industrial dumpster. When the dumpster was emptied at the landfill, deputies say they found a comforter, bedsheet, and mattress cover with a significant amount of apparent blood on it.
What was priority for us was getting into those dumpsters and making sure she was not in there.
The affidavit says deputies did find several of Kathleen's belongings during the dumpster search, including her bank card, set of car keys, a backpack, and the light blue Rugrats sweatshirt she was wearing the night she vanished.
We have the evidence. We have Kathleen now. If he wants to make a positive difference in somebody's life, help the family out, answer their questions.
The question Kathleen's mother wants answered most:
why? Why didn't he just, let her go?
And the judge decided to keep Colin Knapp locked up without any bond. The sheriff's office says it's still too early to determine exactly how Kathleen Moore was killed. Friends tell me they are planning a celebration of her life later this month. Live in Tampa, I'm Justin Shecker, 8 on Your Side.
Everybody good to go? All right. Again, our condolences go out to the family of Kathleen Moore, all our family and friends. We know you've been through a lot over the past week or so, and then also within the past 24 hours. I can say, she is deceased. Today, we positively identified her body based on tattoos. Nicole came in around 11:30 this morning that she was discovered in the woods off of Carmelo Drive, which is, she was about 50 yards northeast of Colin Knapp's home. And so it is a very heavily brushed area. She was actually covered. You can almost describe she was definitely covered on purpose to make sure nobody can come upon her. And even as detectives will tell you, even when you're 2 feet away from her, it's hard to see that her body was there. I will say, K-9 did track that area. K-9 did track that area, but there's several factors that come into it. Wind, weather, decomposition. So, they did their best, but that wasn't just a focal point as we were looking at this investigation. There was an investigation, there was numerous places that we had looked at, the dumpster where the cell phone was found, at Sam Seltzer's restaurant, the dumpsters that were brought to a location to go through. And I want to reiterate that. There was a lot of evidence that had been found in those dumpsters, and when that was found, there was 14 additional industrial-sized dumpsters that went out there that our detectives combed through. Over 20 detectives were combing through these dumpsters because that's where all the evidence was leading to. But again, I want to thank our citizens. Last night we put out a plea for help, and they did. At 11:30 this morning, we got the call because citizens were out there helping us. And that's the one thing about Pasco County. Our citizens work with law enforcement. They work side by side with the sheriff's office. That's saying we fight as one. That's all of us. That's the we. And we are going to bring justice for Kathleen. We did that together. I wish to God we could bring her back. She's with God now. She's with the angels. And we pray for her. We pray for her family right now because they're going through so much. But with that, we will bring her justice. We will bring her family justice. That is important. So, I want to thank all the members of our community. I want to thank our detectives for the outstanding work they did. And I just ask right now that we pray for her family. And I also ask that if anybody is in a domestic violence relationship, please use Kathleen's life to learn from the fact that maybe her life, her sacrifice that she went through is to save somebody else. And if it is to save you because you're in that horrible domestic violence relationship, get out of it. Because if there's something positive that can come out of her death, is that somebody else will live. So please continue to pray for her. If you're in a horrible relationship, please get out of it. There are resources like Sunrise. We will get you help. With that, is there any questions for myself or Sergeant Rosa?
Can we determine the manner of death at this point?
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Rosa, R-O-S-A. I'm a sergeant with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit. And no, ma'am, to answer your question, it is too early in our investigation to actually determine that or release that information.
Do we anticipate charges being upgraded now that the body has been found?
It's too early to say that, ma'am.
Anything you can say about the search and canines from the Pasco County Sheriff's Office going over this area and not finding her sooner?
I will let the sheriff answer that.
Yeah. So this is one of those things. It's just one of those things that, we're human beings. We did our best. We've done our best. We had drones up. We had deputies out there. We had canines out there. And it's one of those things. She is a very wooded area, covered up. Wind, weather, decomposition, those all play factors in a search. So I'll go back to it. It's everything in life works better when it's a team. And that plea to our citizens, we mean it. We want our citizens to work with us. And that's what happened. The citizens were out there working with us. And those dogs do a phenomenal job. But this is the facts of life. We have to work together as a team. And when we work together as a team, those are those things that came together. And we were able to find Kathleen. That was a critical part. But, I'm proud of the work our detectives did. The focus of the investigation actually was those dumpsters. 14 industrial-sized dumpsters. People were, remember, the evidence, the blood-stained clothing was in those dumpsters. We had to search all those dumpsters before they got taken off to landfills. We wanted to make sure that every piece of evidence, God forbid if Kathleen was in one of those dumpsters, that we found her before they were taken out of our community. That was a focus for us. There was no evidence that led us that she was going to be 50 yards into that wood line at the time. What was priority for us was getting into those dumpsters and making sure she was not in there. As horrible, as gruesome as that sounds, it's the truth. And that's what we had to focus on at the time. But as we go back, was that area going to be searched again? Yes, because we did our due diligence in those dumpsters. We were going to go back to other areas to keep searching. We know it was critical to find her. We know that it was critical to Bruce Bartlett's office at the state attorney's office to make sure that they get prosecution. And I know, and I heard people, how can you make that arrest? How can the state attorney get a warrant when there was no body? There was a lot of evidence. But we know finding her, 2 reasons. One, most importantly, is for her family. I can't imagine a family, one is knowing she's dead, but even worse is not knowing where she is. Second is to make sure we get prosecution, we get justice in this case. So I can understand that part where people say, I can't believe that, how can you not find her? It wasn't the focus at the time because all the evidence led us to believe she may have been in one of those 14 dumpsters.
Can you talk a little bit about the evidence, a little bit more about the evidence that you guys used to make that arrest yesterday? Obviously, we couldn't talk about it because we hadn't found her.
Right.
Does finding her now change that?
And I'll let Sergeant Rosa, because they're the ones going to be working with prosecutors.
So not necessarily, ma'am. So we can tell you that it was more than just the blood on our defendant's pants that led us to the arrest. However, a lot of information we cannot reveal at this time. I will tell you that my unit and my leadership has worked multiple homicide investigations, and our investigations don't stop after an arrest. Our investigations, most of the time in homicides, begin after an arrest. So we were planning on doing multiple other things during this investigation to include researching those woods.
Can you talk a little bit about the tattoos that were used to identify her? Where were those located, and what were those of?
Probably out of respect for the family, I'm not going to give you where the tattoos were located, but there were multiple tattoos that specifically identify her.
Are you able to give us a time of death or an estimation on when you believe she might have died?
No, ma'am. And at this point, we are working on that right now with different scientists right now to figure that out. But however, we cannot give that. I would be guessing at this point.
Sheriff, I know you had a message for Knapp yesterday. You were pleading with him to say something to help us find her. Obviously that didn't happen, but now that we found her, any message to him tonight?
Yeah, and I'm going to get to that one point. I just want to hit this other point too. Remember also, when this investigation started and it came out of Pinellas and they said that Kathleen was last missing here in Pasco, we didn't assume that she was dead. You know, we assumed that she was alive, and we were searching to find a live person. So those are those things. When you're doing searches, you're moving quick. You're going places. So I just want to make sure that's out there. A message to the arrested individual in this case, you know, I go back to it again. There is a God. There's a God who knows everything. And he cannot take back, the suspect cannot take back what he did in this case. But what he can do is make something positive going forward. Make it easier on the family. Answer their questions. You know, answer the why. Because we have the evidence. We have Kathleen now. If he wants to make a positive difference in somebody's life, help the family out, answer their questions, give them a little bit of piece of justice back, give them, you know, don't let them live with that why the rest of their lives. Answer their questions, because that's the only thing right now, the only thing that he could do that would be a positive in somebody's life.
Have you guys made contact with Knapp today after you positively identified Kathleen?
No, ma'am. Last time we spoke to Mr. Knapp, he just said that he no longer wanted to answer any more questions. So at that point, we stopped.
Is it possible that she could have been moved from a primary location to the second location, or do you believe this is where the crime occurred?
We probably can't answer it at this point. Our investigation is still going. I really can't answer that at this point. I apologize.
You said she was covered. Was it with a blanket? Was it with dirt? She could like buried? Like, can you kind of describe?
So the best way to say that she was covered by the environment outside.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your time.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Buno.
The body of Kathleen Moore found this morning by folks trying to help investigators in her disappearance and then death. You can see here the Pasco County Sheriff's Office and forensics teams on Eagle 8 HD a short time ago at the scene of where the remains were discovered, remains that were just confirmed to be that of Kathleen Moore, dead at the age of 34. Hey there, everybody. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. You just heard from Sheriff Chris Nacco. Let's go over everything that we have learned, but this is the news, of course, that we had feared, that the body that was found, according to, I believe, the number that I heard, and you guys, YouTube, you guys are great at this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard 50 yards away from Colin Knapp's home. Please let me know if you heard the same thing. I don't know if I heard 15 or 50, but a very short distance away from Colin Knapp's home is where the remains of Kathleen Moore were discovered. Making, of course, it sounds as if covered by brush, covered by the elements of the environment, and those remains were identified to be Kathleen Moore through tattoos, matching tattoos. They didn't get into the details, the specifics. We, of course, sometimes we do get Yeah, YouTube, thank you, saying 50. I appreciate it. Sometimes you hear 15, 50. I heard 50 as well. And with Stephanie Crone Overholtz, we had the visible tattoo that was shared out. That was the primary means of identifying Stephanie Crone Overholtz. So sometimes you do get details about tattoos. That's a distinguishable characteristic that somebody has on their person that makes them identifiable to law enforcement in terrible situations such as somebody's death. So here we have the terrible news, and we were told in advance of this press conference, WFLA's Justin Shecker informing me that the family of Kathleen Moore was told of this news, that that the body that they had found, that they had believed that it matched the description of Kathleen Moore. And let's play back if we can. I want to just kind of play back for our audience that missed it last night. We had a rare nighttime stream on WFLA Now last night, and Justin Shecker, and our Tampa Bay audience knows because they watched it on WFLA News Channel 8 at 11 o'clock last night. Justin Shecker interviewed Kathleen Moore's mother last night. Here's a portion of that interview back in 60 seconds.
I had that gut feeling. It's like a mother's instinct, and you just know when you don't, when you can't sense your child's spirit, you can sense them, and I could not. And I just had that gut feeling.
What does justice for your daughter Kathleen look like?
Well, first of all, prayers, and prayers do help a lot. Justice to me is finding out what really happened. I truly believe that we all in life have to take a journey, you know, and I just wish that Kathleen's journey didn't stop where it did.
JB here with you live. That was the interview that you can watch more of on WFLA.com with Kathleen Moore's mom. We're getting in some new information, information that we're working to confirm here as well, and this is what we do as far as interactive journalism. No commercial breaks. We try not to take breaks of any kind, and what we try to do is process the information that is coming into our newsroom in real time. So some new information has just come in the last several minutes. We're going to vet that information and see if we can present it to you here in just a few minutes. But the 3Ds, deputies, drones, and dogs were used to search this area, according to Sheriff Chris Nacco. But the dogs somehow, according to Nacco, did not pick up on the scent of the remains, the decomposing remains of Kathleen Moore. And but it was, of course, found by members of the public. A search team of some kind, members of the public that were out there actively participating in the search for Kathleen Moore after a plea for help was put out by the Pasco Sheriff's Office. So that's an interesting note, and we might have some more information on that momentarily. But let's get to some of the other notes here from the press conference. Yeah, canines tracked the area, but weather and decomp were two of the reasons why, or the level of decomp, two of the reasons why Sheriff Chris Nacco says that the remains of Kathleen Moore were not found sooner, and not found by law enforcement. Again, found by the public, by civilians, as we understand it. So that was, he was trying to explain why, if the body was found 50 yards from the suspect's home, then why wasn't it found sooner? And he says that those are the factors, that weather could have come into play, the level of decomposition could have come into play, but that they had searched the area, according to Nacco, with deputies, with drones, with dogs, and that they did not find any sign of Kathleen Moore's body until it was discovered at this morning by a member of the public. You heard there Sheriff Nacco calling out for justice for Kathleen. You heard Kathleen Moore's mother, Karen, talking there about justice for Kathleen. How did Kathleen die is a big question now. And as of now, we have no cause of death. We have the blood-soaked clothing that investigators say belonged to Colin Knapp. Let's throw him up here on your screen. That were found in the dumpster that was dumped out at the Pasco County landfill, the restaurant where he worked. Blood-soaked clothing was found in that dumpster, and the identification was positive for DNA analysis. The blood sample sent to FDLE came back positive for Kathleen Moore. So that's how Colin Knapp was arrested, and then today, of course, we have the body that was found not too far away from where he lived. Of course, we noted earlier that Colin Knapp has been denied bond. He's charged with second-degree murder. You heard one of the reporters in the room ask whether or not, and back to Raven's comment, whether or not that there's going to be upgraded charges. One of the reporters asked that question. They'd said that not at this time. It's still a second-degree homicide charge. If that does get elevated, you'll find out about it on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. NACO also noting that 14 dumpsters were checked, that it was an exhaustive effort by law enforcement to look through these dumpsters to find evidence. But again, Kathleen Moore's body being identified based on tattoos. I'm going to step away from the microphone here for 60 seconds. 60 seconds here, everybody, on WFLA Now, as I try to just confirm some information that hopefully I can pass along here to you about the discovery of Kathleen Moore's remains. Again, back here in a roughly 60 seconds. During these 60 seconds, please file in your hashtag HJB questions or comments or observations, or if you just want to say prayers for Kathleen Moore's family, you can do so. We'll animate just the comments with that hashtag as we do here on WFLA Now, back in 60 seconds. And back here with you live, everybody, on WFLA Now. As we do when we get in information into our newsroom, the very important part of the process, and this is what we do as journalists, we make sure that we can present you that information because we have to verify its authenticity and verify the credibility of that piece of information that comes in. Sometimes we get in a piece of information, we vet it quickly, and we're able to present it to you. The information that we just got in, I know that I mentioned it. I can't report it at this time because I don't have it from a credible source of information. But and it pertains to Kathleen Moore's body being discovered and who exactly discovered those remains. If we do get, a confirmation on that, we can of course pass it along to you on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. But that's just part of what we do here. Of course, we have to work through the information that comes into our newsroom and validate what we can present to you as information from a credible news source. We take, of course, our jobs very, very seriously here at WFLA. And if we report something at WFLA, we want to make sure that it's credible information. So don't have that information that I was referencing confirmed at this time. If it is confirmed on this live stream, be more than happy to share it with you. But in the meantime, I don't have that information confirmed at this time. Let's get into some of the comments and questions that are coming in. What we do here on WFLA Now is we feature your comments, your questions using hashtag HeyJB. This is interactive journalism. This is how this works. You might have questions. You might have observations. Members of the community might have something to point out, something that I have missed. And of course, we bring up your comments here in real time, and we talk about the stories that we cover, and we feature your comments because we want to engage with you, our audience, via social media. So let's get to some of the comments that have come in the last several minutes. Aaron asking hashtag HeyJB with a great question. Does he know they found her body? We don't know. Does Colin Knapp know that a body was found 50 yards away from where he lives? We don't know. When suspects are apprehended, and of course he's been denied bond, and you do have limited contact with the outside world, it's hard to say whether or not let's see, the 6 hours since the body was discovered, it's hard to say whether or not Colin Knapp has been informed. We can assure you he was not informed during his arraignment. But did he hear? Let's show you the arraignment one more time, because this is the last that we know of Colin Knapp. Colin Knapp being behind bars on the second-degree homicide charge. His arraignment was very brief. Did Colin Knapp have access to the judge's remarks after he was denied bond? Listen to this 60-second clip, and it'll kind of all make sense. We'll break it down soon thereafter. Actually, hold on. Let me load up that clip, and so I can show it to you. But this is, again, his arraignment that occurred at around, I think it was 12:05 Eastern Time, roughly. Here it is. This is the 60-second arraignment of Colin Knapp today, December 7th, 2021.
Okay, I can hear my... Okay, thank you. Colin Knapp. Mr. Knapp, you had a warrant that was issued for you for murder in the second degree, and you've been set at no bond in this case. Do you wish to have an attorney to represent you in this matter?
Yes.
Can you afford one, sir?
No.
All right, well, appoint the public defender. The bond remain at no bond. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor?
Yes.
He's entitled to a bond unless the court makes a finding that proof of guilt is evident or the presumption is great, as per Rule 3.131 in the Rules of Criminal Procedure.
I'm aware of that, counsel.
I know you.
Okay. All right. And I am making that finding. So
thank you, Judge.
Perhaps you're not aware of there's been new developments in that case as well. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Which makes it even clearer. Okay, next case.
And yeah, reading some notes here. So you heard there Judge Mansfield at the end there say that there was new developments in the case that makes it even clearer. Was that audio accessible to Colin Knapp? Would that have tipped off to Colin Knapp that the body was found? Don't know. And also, too, we don't know what kind of communication access Colin Knapp has behind bars in Pasco County. So to answer your question, Aaron, we don't know if he is aware. And also, too, if he's been appointed a public defender, if the public defender had an afternoon appointment with his client, Colin Knapp, then in that case, I would imagine that the public defender, hopefully briefed enough on the developments of today, would be able to then inform him that a discovery of a body has been made 50 yards or so from his home. Don't know. So the answer to this is an interesting question. It's a good one to kind of get us kicked off here because we don't know the answer to this question. Michelle, and this was a question that was echoed by a lot of our YouTube commenters during the last several minutes. Michelle asking #HeyJB, did Kathleen Moore's friends ever indicate that they were all aware of Colin Knapp's background, including Kathleen? I'd have to check with the friends that we spoke to of Kathleen Moore. Jessica Brummett, Justin Shecker has been in contact with family members, and how much did they know about Colin Knapp's criminal history? Because it's a long one. We've got a hodgepodge of mugshots to choose from when it comes. This is his most recent, but Colin Knapp, in his press conference. Yeah, Justin, and Justin standing by. You can come sit down. Everybody, News Channel 8's Justin Shecker was sitting in our newsroom, and he's got information. Hey, Justin.
Hey, yes. So, just where'd you leave off? Just the obviously played the press conference.
The question that just came in from Michelle and a bunch of our YouTubers, and you've been speaking with Jessica Brummett, one of the closest friends of Kathleen Moore. Yeah. They wanted to know if the family and friends of Kathleen Moore were aware that Colin Knapp had a long criminal history. Did you were able to find that out in your reporting?
All we do know is we had that photograph that Jessica said she had met him for the first time was Thanksgiving, was 3-4 days before she vanished and the murder occurred. And she said he seemed a little bit off at that Thanksgiving. She made no mention to me about his lengthy criminal history. Obviously, JB, that was one of the first things when we found out about this case. We did dig into that record, which we held off on reporting until he was identified. My conversation with Kathleen's mother, which I know you played some of that sound to your audience here, she said she had maybe kind of seen him on FaceTime or spoken to him, but she really did not know him that well. Just knew that, had some relationship with her daughter, but did not know him that well.
And again, I just want to make sure I have this right. So Colin was at the Thanksgiving dinner, and he was being introduced
to the close friend Jessica's family. Yes, that was the first time she said she had met him there.
And little did they know, of course, how would you know? Little did they know that Kathleen Moore would go missing and then be the victim of homicide.
Yeah.
I was talking about last night, Justin. I was talking about how Thanksgiving this year was a little bit more significant because some states, Florida in particular, has been doing much better amid the pandemic. Omicron, of course, the first case being confirmed in the Tampa Bay area. That was happening today. But in large part, relatively with where we've been in the pandemic, Florida doing in large part much better now than over the course of where we've been in 2021. Yeah. And Thanksgiving was just a little bit more meaningful this year. People were getting together, a lot of friends, family, my friends and family were getting together for the first time in a long time, or at least an opportunity to see people for the first time in person at an event, a holiday when everyone has off like Thanksgiving. And it was a little bit more special this year. But for the Moore family and for Moore's closest friends, this is just a tragedy because they meet Colin Knapp, the boyfriend of Moore. And now, of course, we have this terrible outcome of events.
I think this is one thing that you heard Sheriff Nacco speak about last night. I didn't catch the whole press conference today, but in my reporting the last several days on this case, whether it's her immediate family, her mother and her siblings, whether it's the close friends, Nikki, who she was with, Jessica, the Brummett family, whether it's coworkers over at Whiskey Wings. I mean, this woman was adored, JB. I mean, just her, and you heard her mother talk about her outgoing, bubbly personalities, how she wants her daughter to be remembered. And you can see she had these different friend circles and close acquaintances, people at the bar who loved her there. So it's just really devastating for a lot of people who knew Kathleen, whether from work, from school, her family, the friends she grew up with in Pinellas County. And again, you heard the sheriff speak about this last night. To be remembered for anything, just remember how beloved this woman was and how she touched, so many people. So I did want to just mention that, and obviously join you now that the confirmation that just 50 yards away from the house, they find this body. And I can also, in my reporting today, I did speak with one of her sisters. The sheriff's office did notify the family, JB, before the press conference. And again, we waited off till they had the official confirmation that this is indeed the body of Kathleen Moore. But just like yesterday, the family was notified before Sheriff Nacco came out and spoke publicly to reporters, and obviously be able to stream that with our viewers here.
We had some follow-ups that just came in. Tonya Brown, #HeyJB, how long were they dating? And Valentina LeRae, #HeyJustin. So it was a new relationship?
It's been described as an on and off again relationship. I think it's over the course of a few years. I don't know exactly how long. This wasn't a serious thing where the two of them lived there together. She had her own residence in Pinellas County. They had this on and off again relationship. And we know from her friend's account on that Sunday that, there have been arguments during the day. They went out to, I believe it was a beach bar in Indian Rocks. There was obviously drinking involved. And at that point, Kathleen had left her friend in Largo to go back with Colin to his house there. So I don't know the exact years, but it's been described to me by multiple friends as an on and off again relationship.
All right, Justin, appreciate you stopping in.
I can hang for a little more. Any more?
You can hang out for as long as you want. Mike's always open over here on WFLA Now. So let's you want to take a couple more?
Yeah, I got a few more minutes here.
Just all our team of reporters always working around the clock. Everybody, as far as the stories that we cover here at WFLA. Let's get to this one from Kenya. I remember she joined us yesterday, and she says, hashtag, and hopefully, Kenny, I'm pronouncing your name correctly, hashtag HJB. We were looking for her on Sunday from Celtic Road and couldn't see through the swamp and the trees. I think it speaks to, and let's show you the Eagle 8 HD video here one more time. It's Eagle 8 HD video is great, but in some respects, it doesn't do us complete justice for just how heavy or how wooded an area can be. This is a relative for it being right next to a line of homes on Carmel Avenue, a heavy enough wooded area that again it appears. And let's get to. I'll bring up Sherry's comment right behind Kenya's hashtag AJB. They said that she was covered up as well, sort of concealed, they said, so that she possibly wouldn't be found. That's also how it sounded to me, that leaves and brush were covering this body.
There was some effort to conceal the body, and just the fact that it's so close to the home is obviously a bit shocking. I did catch some of the press conference, JB, which Sheriff Nako talked about. A lot of the focus was on the dumpsters where they found the bloodied clothes. Obviously, they dumped that over at the landfill, recovered that key evidence. He also mentioned the dumpster where the phone was found. So, they were searching, they were looking, but again, I think this is, as you heard the major crimes detective say last night, obviously having the body is important for the prosecution, for the legal case, but more so than anything, just important to recover this young woman's body for closure for her family. And the fact that here we are now, what is about 8-9 days after the murder, her being reported missing, to have the body recovered, hopefully that does bring some closure for Kathleen's family.
David Fassel, hashtag AJB, how much heavy brush was over her body? Enough that it was concealed. Rivera Freddy, hashtag AJB, prayers to the family. I'm living this right now with my daughter in Florida. I'm in Philadelphia, and it just breaks my heart. I pray for my daughter every day. Domestic violence, domestic abuse awareness. These are domestic violence awareness. It was a theme in this press conference. It's been a theme in way too many stories that we have covered of late. It is an emerging conversation, a conversation that is so strenuously overdue. And I'm glad.
You heard the sheriff say if anything could come out of this. Obviously, we talked so much with Gabby Petito's story. Now here we are, just a few months later, a tumultuous relationship that obviously ended in this horrific murder and the violence here. And knowing there are resources available for anyone out there who knows a loved one who is in a domestic violence relationship. You heard the sheriff talk about this, and it's just got to pray people can get the help they need, get out of these abusive relationships before it's too late. And if anything come out of these horrible stories, JB, is just us talking about it, raising more awareness. I know you tweeted out last night. What was the organization you spotlighted?
Pasco Sunrise Shelter, Sunrise Shelter of Pasco County. This is a domestic violence shelter for folks in the Tampa Bay area, not just for Pasco County. Yeah. So I want to speak to people in Tampa Bay. If you have a situation involving domestic violence, domestic abuse, if you feel like you have no other choice but to stay in the relationship that you are in, you are wrong. You do not have to be subjugated to abuse in an abusive relationship. And the great folks over at Sunrise Shelter of Pasco County, Sunrise Shelter of Tampa Bay, they are willing to help you out. And there's also a national hotline. I tweeted out the information yesterday. I participated in a charity live stream event. Big shout out to the folks over at Popcorn Planet. Local streamer Andy Signori, who organized a charity event to raise money for Sunrise Shelter of Pasco County. This is an overdue conversation. We've had it with way too many stories that we have covered of late, and I just want people out there to know that you're not alone if you're somebody who has suffered from an abusive relationship or have been the victim of domestic violence, and that there are resources out there to help you. So please do not feel, I don't want anyone out there to ever feel like you don't have a choice, that you do not have a way out. You do. You always do. There are people ready to help you. And again, those resources on my WFLA JB Twitter account, but they're also on WFLA.com and the WFLA app.
Well said, JB.
Kevin, Senior, hashtag HJB, thank you, and prayers to the family and friends. A lot of prayer comments coming in as well. And Marissa Jean with, if there's one question now that we don't know the answer to, and I don't know how much, families grieve in different ways, and loved ones of the deceased react in different ways and grieve in different ways. But Marissa asking #AJB, how was she killed? Like, we don't have a cause of death.
Like this is the body's recovered, what, about 5-6 hours ago, if that.
And some families want to know. I would say that most families want to know how their loved one died, but it's not. For some families, it's an urgent piece of information that they want to find out through the grieving process for them to gain closure, to know exactly what happened. But we don't know. I mean, have you've been in contact with the family?
I think you played the clip last night where I asked the mom. I said,
played it twice.
What does justice look like? And she talked about getting to the bottom of the truth of what happened. So presumably the family wants to know more detail, what happened, what could have led him to snap, to a motive to turn this violent. So they want answers about what happened that night, and obviously the amount of information we've gained in the last 24 hours. It's certain that the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, this is a top priority for them now. As you know, is in these cases, the body will likely be turned over to, probably has already been turned over to the medical examiner to determine a cause and manner of death. Obviously, the manner here, they've already determined this being a homicide based on the blood evidence they recovered. But the how, that should come out in the next few weeks, JB, if not publicly, as we continue to follow the legal proceedings in court. I imagine that evidence will be entered at some point into this case.
And Marissa, I think we're going to wrap up here our WFLA Now streaming coverage with that comment. WFLA's Jeff Patterson is live on the air tonight on WFLA News Channel 8 covering this story. And yeah, this is, and let me just confirm, I just had somebody text me. With a message that I'd like to share with all of you, and hopefully I can do so. But yeah, I want to bring up. All right, I just got a message from Joe Petito. He says he's watching right now. Oh, wow. And Joe Petito, Gabby Petito's father, someone who is trying to do some tremendous good in the world through the Gabby Petito Foundation, which we have talked about so much here on WFLA Now, Justin, myself, WFLA's Josh Benson, WFLA's Allison Henning. We have talked about the Gabby Petito Foundation and what Joe Petito, Nicole Schmidt, Tara Petito, Jim Schmidt, the entire Petito family and their inner circle, their very, very close-knit inner circle, what they are trying to do. And Joe Petito just said he's watching the stream, and he just shot me a text. He says, I hope all is well. I'm watching the stream. If you could, put up the phone number to Sunrise to people so that they can see it. This whole story is heartbreaking. It is. And I'm speaking to you, Joe. It's heartbreaking. It's and it's another story of domestic violence being a theme in a relationship between two people. And in this case, we have Colin Knapp being arrested and charged with second-degree homicide, and we have 34 years old was Kathleen Moore, her whole life ahead of her. I mean, young, Justin, and had her whole life ahead of her, and she's with us no more. It's just a terrible, just a tragic story.
And again, from being where she worked at the bar there, Whiskey Wings, I mean, she was beloved there, but her mom also told me that she had hoped to become a nurse one day. She was taking phlebotomy classes and wanted to pursue that. We also had reported that, she does have a daughter who she had when she was younger, is being raised by another family, but she was still in that young girl's life as well. And obviously the sister's being left behind. So it's just really heartbreaking all around. And the one other thing, I don't know if I mentioned this, JB, when I talked to the mom yesterday, the last time she spoke with her daughter would have been on her birthday, was last Sunday. So now this mother is going to have this horrible anniversary around when her birthday was the last time she's able to talk to her daughter. And there you see the number on the screen, JB just put it up, Sunrise Shelter of Pasco County, 352-521-3120.
There's also a national domestic violence hotline. It's easier to remember, 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And again, domestic violence being the opening theme of the press conference last night and repeated again today by Sheriff Chris Nacco. That's two press conferences in a 24-hour period connected to the Kathleen Moore's homicide, where he says that domestic violence was a component here in this relationship. It's been part of their investigation. and he too was encouraging others and mentioned Sunrise of Pasco County by name. So putting up the number there on screen, and again, the words of, one more time, the words of Joe Petito. This whole story is heartbreaking, and it is. It's a heartbreaking story. And again, talking about somebody who was so full of life, somebody who was so beloved here in the Tampa Bay area, lived in Pinellas County, traveled, obviously it was in Pasco County, and just had so much life to her and was so vibrant in the way that she touched people. It just is truly a heartbreaking story. And I want to bring up, I did have a comment here, and I don't know if I might have lost it because it came in about 10 minutes ago. But Justin, there was a commenter that said, it's like, how do we cover these stories, these over and over again, these tragic stories? First and foremost, let me just say to our audience and communicate with you this. I don't want these stories. We've had a lot of them of late. We never want to cover these stories. If somebody goes missing, we want there to be.
We want them to be found.
The chance, yes, we want them to be found. That's why when missing person alerts come in, and I've talked with Joe Petito quite a bit about missing person alerts and the systems and the technology, that we do everything that we can in the media. And Justin and I really focus on Tampa Bay. We really focus on Florida. We're really trying to help out the families of our DMA and trying to help bring more happy ends than tragic ones to these missing persons cases. This was one. Kathleen Moore was a missing person after Thanksgiving, after the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We were hoping, Justin, you were hoping, I was hoping, our entire WFLA team was hoping that this was, the best ones are the ones where they send out the alert, and then
2 hours later they found him.
Exactly. Yep. 2 hours later, we get the follow-up alert. Thank you so much to the public. Thank you for all the shares on social media. So-and-so person was found. And then I always have a little bit of not necessarily a smile on my face, but it's better to tweet out that someone has been found.
The alert's been canceled. The child is home safe. We got obviously the silver alerts with older folks in our community who go missing. And we always pray for these resolutions. Now if Joe's still watching, GB, I always remember this when I first talked to Joe Petito, when I had asked if he had thought something bad had happened to his daughter. I always remember he told me this, and I don't know if he's still watching. He said he was just going to believe she was out there lost, off the grid, without her phone, maybe a little disoriented until someone told him otherwise, and just the hope that his family held on to until they got that grim news a few months ago. And obviously in this case here now, just 8 or so days after she's no longer heard from, they now have her body, and now the on and off again boyfriend sits in the jail. I believe he's being held no bond, correct? That's
correct.
What came out of denied bond. And look, we'll see what the medical examiner determines, whether or not that's enough evidence to upgrade the charges in this case or not. But again, speaking to the mom yesterday, they were praying that she would be found, that it was in God's hands. I could tell the mother's a fairly religious person. I imagine the family will be leaning on their faith as they try to cope with this tragedy. But like JB said, every time we get these alerts, we're always hoping for that good resolution, that the alert's canceled shortly after, and that the loved ones can come home to their families. It's been, like you said, a few too many sad stories here in these last couple of months. And again, just speaking to so many people the last few days, you can really see how much that Kathleen Moore will be missed here in Tampa Bay.
One more time, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. Maybe we can end out this stream if you're on YouTube. Hashtag you're not alone. Twitter, Facebook, you're not alone. If there's something that can be done to raise awareness to domestic violence awareness, and that emerging cause, and a cause that is, again, it's long over, these conversations long overdue. I've talked about it at length before. And hashtag you're not alone, because if you are a victim of domestic violence, if you have suffered from domestic abuse, if you've been in a abusive relationship, hashtag you're not alone. And I want to make that as clear as possible. One more time, National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. Sunrise Shelter of Pasco County, serving the Tampa Bay area. They also have a hotline, 352-521-3120 on the bottom of your screen, as well as resources available to you on sunrisepasco.org. I'll end out here with one final comment from our commenters. Linda Gordish, hashtag AJB, rest easy, sweet angel. Prayers for her family and all who loved her. God bless. Justin, any final notes before we wrap up?
Again, it's been a fast-moving 24 hours with the news of the arrest and now the recovery of her body. We will obviously stay on top of this to see what the medical examiner does find, and we will be obviously following the court case with Colin Knapp, now charged with second-degree murder. But hopefully the recovery of her body can provide some closure to Kathleen Moore's family and friends. I have reached out to a friend to see if there's going to be any type of vigil tonight. I have not yet heard back. My phone's over there, so we'll obviously keep an eye out if there's any more services, ceremonies to remember and honor her life, and we will definitely stay on top of that. And again, our thoughts and prayers with Kathleen Moore's family and friends as they go through this difficult time. But as we're trying to do here, trying to raise some awareness here about domestic violence, and hopefully someone maybe sees this and is able to get the help they need, and something good can come out of this awful tragedy out of Pasco County.
I'm seeing Monica and Bibi and Haley and Tyla and Deeks and Sherry and Sapphire Eddie, a lot of folks now commenting with hashtag you're not alone. You're not alone. Linda, thank you for the comment. Justin, thanks for sitting down with us. I know you're working on a lot of stories for tonight on WFLA News Channel 8.
We'll be picking up the coverage from Jeff Patterson. We just did a little report here in the newsroom about today being Pearl Harbor anniversary day as well. So a lot of news going on today. And
busy day in Tampa.
Busy day in Tampa. We'll be picking up the coverage 6 and 11 with more of what Sheriff Nacco had to say today, and just this big development today now that Kathleen Moore's body has been found. And that's actually the photo there. It was just her with Jessica on the Thanksgiving photo there. You just saw on the screen.
If we hear of any candlelight vigils, as Justin noted, that was a great point. If we hear anything, we'll share it on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. I'd really like to just share a heartfelt thanks to all of our commenters, everybody joining us here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, hashtag KJB, hashtag You're Not Alone. I really appreciate it. To everybody, the very latest on this story and all the stories that we've been covering on a busy day in Tampa Bay. It's on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. For Justin Shecker, I'm JB Bune, and we'll see you next time on WFLA Now.